All right, those flamingos typically mean there's a big reveal of some sort. And people seem to like those, so let's get started. We're gonna start right here. People have been asking what happened to the propeller. This guy was considered to be included in the center when he finally got mounted, but a decision was made not to. He was a Cessna 150. This is the altimeter, but it's really a clock, and it's forever frozen in time at 4,950 feet, which is the crash site. There's the barometric pressure, which was either rising or falling at the time of the accident. I don't know. That's up to my dad, who's no longer here. So let's continue on. We were gonna have a clock, and our hope was to make a little bell because the prop made a really cool sound when we carried it down the mountain. But after it was mounted, it makes a thud. It doesn't sound very good. So we solved that problem by creating a clock right here. We would have a clock and an alarm so people could set the time and set the alarm they wanted. And we would include some photos so people could see the photos in the classic slideshow of the event as it happened. Not only the slideshow, the advantage of this as opposed to a plaque is that we also had the mechanism to include the videos. And the videos tell really the story of the event and the place, and you get context you just can't get from a still photograph. So we've included a clock, we've included photographs, we included videos. We also, because it's internet enabled, included the local weather and the date. So all of this is available forever for anyone who wants to come and see the propeller. So now the question is, really what happened with the propeller? Was it a lamp? Was it turned into a little table, a coffee table of some sort? Was it mounted as an artifact? Let's look behind the curtain and we will see. This is the final product. We had to do justice to Doug's sanding and painting. We decided to mount it horizontally, leverage the mirror so you can get up close, you can see behind both sides, the notches in here if you look closely, the way it's mounted. We also kept this part clear so you could see the propeller and the original stampings. And then in the event of a power outage and you can't see those photos, we memorialized this little piece for the center with all 5 people that did the hike, 3 of which did the entire thing, brought the propeller back. We've got the GPS coordinates of the crash site where it will forever be. We've got the date of when the crash happened and when these 5 intrepid people went back and recovered it. We've got the bolts here with these little points, right, like real aircraft bolts that are holding this together. And then you can see the yellow tips that Doug chose to paint, but the black is the original color. Now, the extra little tidbit I threw in, which you may or may not have noticed, because I'm sure you recognize this shape, just like I did when we mapped it out, but weren't sure why this shape was so familiar. And if you look closely and you do a second take, just look at the proportions and you'll know that you've seen it before. You must have seen it before because this is the scoreboard at Dodger Stadium. And these are the exact proportions in a 1/12 scale, or 1 inch, on these dimensions mapped to 1 foot at the Dodger scoreboard. So that's in honor and of respect for my friend Mark Church, who will have to appreciate that little factoid. So we've tied it all together from the altimeter, where my dad sits and part of his legacy, to modernizing it with Wi-Fi, clock and video and alarm, and then of course the prop itself, which people can come and look at closely, which you don't see because it's so polished, how rough and how brutal it is, and of course how 3-dimensional it is. That's why it had to be mounted like this. So that is the finished product, and I hope you approve of our design decisions because there were so many things in play. Thank you.